A year or so later, I hadn't yet had a lot of success, and I was still a struggling actor in Hollywood. And I was going on readings, and of course, he had his company over at Warner Brothers.
Not everyone may recognize the names Robert Urich and Heather Menzies at first, but most people will remember them from their iconic roles on screen. Robert Urich, in particular, became known worldwide as a rugged, confident, tough guy, starring in hit television series like Vegas and Spencer for Hire. On screen, he always seemed unstoppable, taking on dangerous opponents with ease. But what many didn't realize was that off-screen, Robert would eventually face a far more devastating battle of his own, one far harsher than anything written into a script, and one he would not be able to overcome. This is the tragic death of Robert Urich and his wife. Robert Urich's story began far from Hollywood, in the small town of Toronto, Ohio, not Canada. Born to John Paul and Cecilia Monica Urich, he was raised Byzantine Catholic and came from Rusin and Slovak roots. From an early age, he stood out as a natural athlete and leader, the kind of young man people expected great things from. A football scholarship took him to Florida State University, where he played backup center and crossed paths with future star Burt Reynolds. Still, his true focus wasn't sports. Urich earned a degree in radio and television communications, then completed a master's in broadcast research and management at Michigan State University. Driven and ambitious, he chased opportunity wherever he could find it. He studied voice at the University of Chicago and landed a modest sales job at WGN-TV, earning just $150 a week. That job didn't last. When his employers discovered he was secretly auditioning for acting roles, he was fired. A brief attempt at working as a weather presenter followed, but it quickly became clear that life behind a forecast map wasn't his destiny. By the early 1970s, Urich finally broke into television, and once he did, he became a familiar presence almost overnight. From SWAT to Vegas to Spencer, for Hire, he built a reputation as reliable, grounded, and effortlessly likable. He wasn't flashy or controversial, but that steadiness made him one of television's most trusted leading men. He worked constantly, moving through series after series, becoming a fixture in American living rooms. A turning point came after a Chicago stage production of The Rainmaker, where he reunited with college friend Burt Reynolds. Reynolds, already rising fast in Hollywood, encouraged him to move to Los Angeles and fully commit to acting. Urich took the leap. Shortly after arriving in L.A., he landed his first television role, a guest appearance on the FBI, in 1972. It was small, but it opened the door to the career that would define his life. Just a year later, Urich landed his first leading television role in the TV adaptation of Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice. On paper, it looked like a major breakthrough. In reality, the series struggled and was canceled after only 6 episodes. Still, Urich didn't lose momentum. That same year, he made his feature film debut in Magnum Force, starring opposite Clint Eastwood. Playing a motorcycle cop with vigilante instincts, he proved he could hold his own on the big screen in a dark, high-stakes role. In 1975, fate intervened again through Burt Reynolds, who encouraged producer Aaron Spelling to give Urich a chance on a new action series. Spelling cast him as Officer Jim Street in SWAT, and the gamble paid off. The show became an instant hit, turning Urich into a television star almost overnight. But controversy over violence cut its run short, and by 1976, SWAT was off the air. Urich quickly pivoted. In 1977, he made a memorable comedic appearance on Soap, then starred in Tabitha, a Bewitched spin-off, as a charming but self-absorbed talk show host. Though it debuted well, scheduling issues led to its cancellation after just 13 episodes. Everything changed in 1978 when Urich was cast as Dan Tana in Vega Dollars. Reuniting with Aaron Spelling, he transformed himself physically, adding nearly 40 pounds of muscle to embody the sharp, stylish Las Vegas private investigator. The show became a massive hit, earning him 2 Golden Globe nominations and cementing his status as a leading man. By 1981, ratings declined and ABC canceled the series, but Urich's career was far from over. After Vega Dollars, he shifted focus to film, signing a deal with MGM. His first project, the sci-fi thriller Endangered Species, didn't make a huge splash, but it marked the beginning of his next chapter. Television continued to draw Urich back. He returned in Gavilan, playing a former CIA agent turned oceanographer. The premise sounded promising, but the series struggled and was canceled after just 7 episodes. He moved on quickly. In 1984, he took on 2 very different film roles, the quirky sci-fi comedy The Ice Pirates and Wes Craven's offbeat horror film Invitation to Hell. Neither became a hit, but they showed his willingness to take risks. A year later came Turk, 182, a heartfelt drama that again failed to find a wide audience. That same year, Urich struck gold on television with Spencer, For Hire. As the street-smart private detective with a moral code, he connected deeply with viewers and carried the series for 3 successful seasons. Even after the show ended, he continued to revisit the character in a string of TV movies throughout the 1990s, keeping Spencer alive for a devoted fan base. Around the same time, he revealed a different side of himself as host of National Geographic Explorer, earning a Cable Ace Award for his work. One of the most acclaimed performances of his career came in 1989 with Lonesome Dove. Playing the tragic Jake Spoon, Urich delivered a layered, emotional performance that drew widespread praise. Through the early 1990s, he stayed busy, though many projects were short-lived. Shows like American Dreamer and It Had to Be You failed to gain traction, and even a rare Disney documentary he narrated quietly disappeared after a single airing. In 1996, Urich found renewed momentum with the Western series The Lazarus Man, which was well-received and renewed for a second season. Then came devastating news. He was diagnosed with synovial sarcoma, a rare cancer. Instead of accommodating him, the production abruptly canceled the show. Urich later spoke openly about the decision and sued for breach of contract, refusing to be quietly sidelined. Despite his illness, he kept working. He hosted documentary programs, returned to acting after being declared cancer-free, and starred in Love Boat: The Next Wave. He even made his Broadway debut as Billy Flynn in Chicago, touring with the production in the late 1990s. His final television role came in the sitcom Emerald, followed by the TV movie Night of the Wolf, which aired just 1 day before his death. Robert Urich's cancer diagnosis. In July 1996, Robert Urich publicly revealed that he had been diagnosed with synovial sarcoma, a rare and aggressive cancer affecting soft tissue. It was devastating news, but Urich refused to withdraw from life or work. He met the diagnosis with determination and optimism, continuing to act even while undergoing intense treatment. Rather than focusing only on himself, he chose to use his visibility to help others. Urich became a passionate advocate for cancer awareness, speaking openly about early detection and the need for research. His courage earned widespread recognition, including honors from the John Wayne Cancer Institute and the Gilda Radner Courage Award. Alongside his wife, Heather Menzies, he established the Urich Fund at the University of Michigan Comprehensive Cancer Center to support cancer research. He backed that commitment personally, donating $125,000 in winnings from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire directly to the cause. By 1998, Urich was declared cancer-free and was named a national spokesperson for the American Cancer Society, using the role to inspire hope and resilience. But the illness returned. In late 2001, doctors discovered new tumors. Even then, Urich remained hopeful, encouraged by new treatments that seemed promising. His health declined rapidly in April 2002. Admitted to a hospital in Thousand Oaks, California, with severe breathing complications, Robert Urich passed away on April 16, 2002, at the age of 55, surrounded by his wife and children. A funeral service followed days later in North Hollywood. His ashes were later laid to rest near the family's vacation home in Prince Edward County, Ontario. A quiet, lasting tribute to a man remembered not only for his strength on screen, but for his courage off it. Robert Urich's marriage. Before his death, Robert Urich was married twice. His first marriage to actress Barbara Rucker in 1968 ended in divorce 6 years later. In 1975, he married actress Heather Menzies, a partnership that lasted until his passing in 2002. Together, they adopted 3 children and built a life grounded in family, compassion, and a shared devotion to acting. Heather Menzies was born in Toronto on December 3, 1949, to Scottish parents who immigrated to Canada after World War II. Because of her father's work as an artist, she moved frequently, living in cities across North America and Europe before settling in Southern California. She attended John Burroughs High School in Burbank and later studied acting formally. Her career began early with a television appearance at 14, followed by her breakout role as Louisa Von Trapp in The Sound of Music. Despite having no formal acting background, she left a lasting impression and even rescued a young co-star during filming when the child fell into the water. Menzies went on to enjoy a long career in film and television, appearing in series such as Bonanza, Alias Smith and Jones, Logan's Run, and Vega Dollars, where she worked alongside Urich. She also appeared in films including Piranha and Endangered Species. The couple met in 1974 while filming a commercial in which they played a married couple, and fiction soon became reality. After Urich's death from cancer in 2002, Heather dedicated herself to continuing his advocacy work, founding the Robert Urich Foundation to support cancer research and patients. Having survived ovarian cancer herself, she became a tireless advocate. In late 2017, she was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer and passed away on December 24th at age 68, surrounded by family. Together, Robert and Heather left a lasting legacy through scholarships, charitable foundations, and cancer research initiatives. Urich was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and a highway interchange named after him in his hometown of Toronto, Ohio. Through their children and the causes they championed, their impact continues to be felt long after their passing. Robert Urich's children. Robert and Heather Urich's path to parenthood was not an easy one. After several miscarriages, they turned to adoption, welcoming Ryan in 1978 and Emily in 1980. Nearly 2 decades later, they adopted their youngest child, Allison Grady Urich, in 1998. Robert was a hands-on, emotionally present father, gentle, supportive, and deeply involved in his children's lives, qualities that helped anchor the family through difficult times. When Robert's cancer returned as Ryan was nearing high school graduation, the entire family felt the weight of it. Ryan, Emily, and Allison remained by their father's side through his final months, just as Heather had throughout his long battle. Ryan was the only one who briefly pursued acting, appearing in Nightwalk and The Killer Inside, before stepping away from the industry. Inspired by his father's illness, Ryan chose a different path. He became an infectious disease specialist in New Mexico, later explaining that watching his father suffer changed his life and gave him a sense of purpose. Emily and Allison opted for quieter lives outside the spotlight. But together, the siblings continue to honor their parents' legacy through compassion, resilience, and service. What has Ryan said about his father? Of the 3 Urich children, Ryan has spoken most openly about his father. Robert believed in understanding over punishment. When Ryan got into trouble, he didn't scold him. He sat down at eye level, talked calmly, and listened. That same patience shaped how he raised his daughters, celebrating even the smallest milestones. Even in his final days, weakened by illness, Robert still found the energy to play with his youngest, Allison, just days before her 4th birthday. Robert's battle with cancer lasted 6 grueling years and 3 diagnoses. He endured surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, losing his hair, but never his determination. As soon as he could, he returned to work, hosting On Assignment for National Geographic while continuing treatment. When the cancer came back during Ryan's last year of high school, it was more aggressive. Ryan later recalled driving his father to chemotherapy with extreme care, avoiding every bump to spare him pain. Robert died in 2002 while Ryan was studying biology in college. That sense of helplessness changed Ryan's life, leading him to become an infectious disease specialist in New Mexico. His sister Emily also entered medicine and now works as an emergency room nurse. After Robert's death, Heather continued their advocacy through the Robert Urich Foundation. She was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer in 2017 and passed away 4 weeks later, surrounded by her children. Today, the Urich siblings carry their parents' legacy forward through service, compassion, and care for others. What part of Robert and Heather's journey moved you the most? Their devotion to family, their battle with illness, or the way their children carried that legacy forward? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more in-depth stories about Hollywood's hidden tragedies and untold endings, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you then.